Bismillah, salatu wassalam ala rasulillah. Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Today, I will explain our data engineering or big data engineering projects. In our project, we build a Lambda architecture to process critical and non-critical user data, in which we achieve two essential pipelines. One, which is a local pipeline, which is a speed layer pipeline. In this pipeline, we process and handle the data locally in real time, okay? And in this pipeline, exactly, we handle the critical data, okay? But the non-critical data will be processed and handled in the cloud. For the speed layer, the data is being read from the API, and after that will be passed through Apache Airflow. Apache Airflow in this case will create the database Postgres if not exist, and will stream the data and will produce the data for Kafka. Kafka in this case will produce the data with the help of Apache Airflow, and after that we'll get the access to Apache Spark to consume this data later. Okay, so Zookeeper used for topic coordination for Kafka. We have also here schema registry service and control center to visualize our streaming data. After that, the Spark stream that runs in Jupyter Notebook service will process the real-time data and load it into multiple things, Parquet format and Cassandra and also Postgres. In our local machine, we have a Scalable Python script that run each 24 hours to load the data into SQL Server. Great. After the data is loaded into SQL Server, the data will be handled, or just to clarify another thing, the data that will be loaded into SQL Server is the non-critical users data, okay, which is the data that will be non-critical to be treated and processed in Azure Cloud, okay? So first things first, in our Azure Cloud, we have Azure Data Factory service that's responsible for the data for workflow and pipeline, and also the data ingestion from the SQL Server with the help of SHIR, self-hosted integration runtime, to load the data securely into Azure Cloud, okay? Or maybe the whole pipeline will be treated with the help of Azure Data Factory. So after data is ingested into Azure Data Factory, will be loaded as a bronze layer, okay, in Azure Data Lake, exactly the Azure Gen 2, okay. After the data is loaded into bronze layer, with the help of another service, which is Azure Databricks, we will filter and clean this data and load it into a silver layer that will contain a filtered and clean data from the bronze layer, okay. And just to mention another thing, the silver layer or the silver data will be loaded into, after the process in Azure Databricks, will be loaded into Azure Data Lake. For the batch layer now, after the speed layer, we have the batch layer. For the batch layer, the non-critical user data will be loaded into SQL Server. So to ingest the data into Azure, we have a service that's called Azure Data Factory that is responsible for data ingestion and data workflow. But first of all, we ingest the data with the help of this service, and with the help also with the intermediate in our local machine, which is an SHIR, self-hosted integration runtime, to ensure the data ingestion or the data transformations in a secure way, okay? So after that, after we ingest the data into Azure Data Factory, we have this whole pipeline run with the help of this service, okay? So the data at the first level is loaded into bronze layer in Azure Data Lake and exactly Gen 2. And after that, we transform this data into a silver layer, from bronze layer to silver layer, which is a filtered and cleaned data, with the help of another service, which is Azure Databricks, to transform this data from bronze layer to silver layer, and also from silver layer to gold layer. And this layer is more clean data to help business level, okay? And after that, these three layers are loaded into Azure Data Lake, but with the help of Azure Synapse, we could load this data in Azure Synapse as a data warehouse. So Azure Synapse in this case plays, or in our architecture, plays the role of data warehouse, okay? So only the gold layer will be loaded into Azure Synapse Analytics to be finally visualized with the help of Power BI in our local machine. So this is the whole cloud or Azure architecture. And we also, for security and data governance, we use Key Vault, Azure Key Vault, to store secret keys and API keys. And we used Azure Active Directory to create groups and give the access to users. This is the whole architecture of our project, which is a Lambda architecture. I hope you enjoy this explanation, and see you in the full demo. Okay, Assalamu alaikum, and hello again. As you can see here, these are our two tables, critical user data and non-critical user data. For the critical user data table will be processed and handled locally, but the second one that contains non-critical users data, this is the table that will be loaded into Azure and will be processed there. Okay, so if we just take a look on these two tables, we have no rows as you can see here. Great. Now let's go back to our FROW DAG. We will run our FROW DAG to start the streaming and real-time data from the API to Kafka and stream it in Spark. Okay. So table is already created. Now the data is streamed into Kafka. If we go back to our topic in our cluster, as you can see here, the topic is healthy. Now we will go to messages. And as you can see here, real-time data is produced in Kafka. Okay. So now we have to go to Spark. As you can see here, this is the real-time data is processed and loaded in real time to Postgres and Cassandra. If we go back to Cassandra, as you can see before, we had no rows in our Cassandra table. Now, if we run a simple select query, we have 24 row. Okay, so we'll check again, 24, 24, 25. You can see here, 25. So 25. Let's check if, okay, the task is already done. So I think this 25 row is the final rows answered in the Cassandra. If we go back also in Postgres, execute the same query. Yes, we have 25 rows. Okay. Now let's go back to SQL Server and see if the data is loaded successfully. Okay, we have no data till this moment, and that's great. And that's because we didn't run the task shuttler yet. Okay. And after we run this task shuttler, we will go back to SQL Server and run again. As you can see here, we have 25 row. Also in non-critical user data, we have 25 row. Let's take a simple look on those tables. This is non-critical users data. This is how it looks like. And this is how the critical users data looks like. Okay. And that's all for this part or for the local pipeline. Okay, let's go back again. As you can see here, this is the final dashboard that we will have. And as you can see here, we have the total users or customers, which is 231. This is the count of users from non-critical users data loaded in Azure Synapse. So now let's go back to our Azure Data Factory to see the whole pipeline, or at least the first part of our pipeline. Let's now try to run our pipeline to see that everything is running successfully, from reading the data from SQL Server and loading it into Azure Data Factory or in Azure Data Lake, and after that to transform it from the bronze to silver and from silver to the gold layer. And at the end, we will see or we will run the final pipeline to load the data or the golden layer. We will load it into Azure Synapse Analytics to be read from Power BI in our local machine to do analysis, okay, and visuals. Okay, as you can see here, our pipeline is still running. I will go back to you after the whole pipeline will be run. Okay, as you can see here, our pipeline is run successfully. Now we will go to Azure Synapse to run the Azure Synapse pipeline. Okay, our pipeline is running now. It's about to be done. Okay, the whole pipeline is run successfully. Now let's go back and refresh. As you can see here, the total users is 231. Now 21 user will be added. Let's refresh. As you can see here, we have 25 users, which is the same member in our school server, in our data, okay, 25. And that's all. This is our whole pipeline. And I hope that was clear for you. And thank you for watching.